Hi everyone. Multi-threaded programming. Modern operating systems such as Windows XP, Windows 7 can execute several programs simultaneously. This ability is known as multitasking. In systems terminology, it is called as multi-threading. A thread is similar to a program that has a single flow of control. It has a beginning, a body, and an end, and executes commands sequentially. Have a look at the block diagram for multi-threaded program. As you can see in the diagram, the main thread has been divided into three sub-threads, that is thread A, thread B and thread C. Switching between these sub-threads will be carried out by the processor. Creating threads. Threads are implemented in the form of objects that contain a method called run. The run method is the heart and soul of any thread. It makes up the entire body of a thread and is the only method in which the thread's behavior can be implemented. A typical run would appear as shown below. The run method should be invoked by an object of the concerned thread. This can be achieved by creating a thread and initiating it with the help of another thread method called start. There are two methods for creating a new thread. One is by creating a thread class, that is extending thread class. Second one is by converting a class to a thread, that is by implementing runnable interface. Let us see how to extend the thread class. Firstly, we need to declare the class as extending the thread class. Secondly, implement the run method that is responsible for executing the sequence of code that the thread will execute. Then create a thread object and call the start method to initiate the thread execution. Let us have a look at an example program. Declaring the class. The thread class can be extended as follows. Class myThread extends thread. Now class myThread is inheriting the properties of thread class. Implement the run method as shown below within myThread class. Now create an object for myThread class by using the statement myThread a thread is equal to new myThread bracket open close semicolon. It will create an object called a thread. Now use this object to invoke start method. A thread dot start will invoke the start method, which in turn call the run method. Stopping or blocking a thread. Whenever we want to stop a thread from running further, we may do so by calling its stop method, that is a thread dot stop bracket open close semicolon in this case. Blocking a thread. A thread can also be temporarily suspended or blocked from running by using any one of the below mentioned thread methods. Sleep method within bracket time in milliseconds. This method will block a thread for a specified time. Suspend method. This method will block the thread until further orders. Next one is wait method. This will block a thread until certain condition occurs. Life cycle of a thread. During the lifetime of a thread, it enters into many states. The states are newborn state, runnable state, running state, blocked state, and dead state. Newborn state. When we create a thread object, the thread is born and is said to be in newborn state. The thread is not yet scheduled for running. At this state, we can do one of the following things with it. First one, schedule it for running using the start method, or else we can kill it using the stop method. Note that if we try to use any other method at this stage, an exception will be thrown. Runnable state. The runnable state means that the thread is ready for execution and is waiting for the availability of the processor. However, if we want a thread to relinquish control to another thread of equal priority before its turn comes, we can do so by using the yield method as shown in the diagram. Running state. It means that the processor has given its time to the thread for its execution. The thread runs until it relinquishes or releases control on its own, or it is preempted by a higher priority thread. A running thread may relinquish its control in one of the following situations. First situation, it has been suspended using the suspend method. A suspended thread can be revived by using the resume method. This approach is useful when we want to suspend a thread for some time due to certain reason and do not want to kill it, as shown in the diagram. Second situation, it has been made to sleep. We can put a thread to sleep for a specified time period using the method sleep, where time is in milliseconds. The thread re-enters the runnable state as soon as this time period is elapsed. Third situation, it has been told to wait until some event occurs. This is done by using the wait method. The thread can be scheduled to run again using the notify method as shown in the diagram. Next is blocked state. A thread is said to be blocked when it is prevented from entering into the runnable state and subsequently the running state. This happens when the thread is suspended, sleeping or waiting in order to satisfy certain requirements. A blocked thread is not dead and hence it can run again. As you can see in the diagram, if a thread is blocked using suspend method, it can be revived with the help of resume method. If it is blocked using sleep method, it will be revived after the elapse of certain time period. Likewise, if a thread is blocked using wait method, then it can be revived with the help of notify method. Lastly, the dead state. A running thread ends its life when it has completed executing its run method. It is a natural death. However, we can kill it by invoking the stop method at any stage, as you can see in the diagram, thus causing a premature death to it. Thread exceptions. The sleep method throws an exception, which should be caught, and hence the sleep method is enclosed in a try block and followed by a catch block. If we fail to catch the exception, program will not compile. Whenever we attempt to invoke a method that a thread cannot handle in the given state, the Java runtime system will throw illegal thread exception. For example, a sleeping thread cannot deal with the resume method because it cannot receive any instructions. Therefore, whenever we call a thread method that is likely to throw an exception, we have to supply an appropriate exception handler to catch it. The catch statement may take one of the following forms. Thread death exception. Whenever a thread is killed, this particular exception is thrown. Interrupted exception. Whenever a thread cannot handle a particular method in the current state, it will throw interrupted exception. Illegal argument exception. An illegal argument exception is thrown in order to indicate that a method has been passed an illegal argument. To catch any other exceptions, we can just use exception in catch block. Thread priority. In Java, each thread is assigned a priority, which affects the order in which it is scheduled for running. The threads of the same priority are given equal treatment, and hence they share the processor on a first come first serve basis. We can set the priority of a thread by using the setPriority method as shown below. The int number is an integer value to which the thread's priority is set. The thread class defines several priority constants. Minimum priority is equal to 1, norm priority is 5, and max priority is 10. Note that the default value for thread priority is norm priority, that is 5. Synchronization. When two or more threads try to acquire the same resource, there arise conflicts. For example, one thread may want to read a record from a file, while another is still writing to the same file. Depending on the situation, we may get strange results. Java overcomes this problem with the help of a technique known as synchronization. For example, the method that will read information from a file and the method that will update the same file may be declared as synchronized. When we declare a method synchronized, Java creates a monitor and hands over the same to the thread that calls the method for the first time. As long as the thread holds the monitor, no other thread can enter the synchronized section of the code. A monitor is like a key, and the thread that holds the key can only open the lock. When a thread has completed its work of using synchronized method, it will hand over the monitor to the next thread that is ready to use the same resource. Deadlock is a situation wherein two or more threads are waiting to gain control of a resource, but due to some reasons, the condition on which the waiting threads rely on to gain control does not happen. For example, assume that thread A must access method 1 before it can release method 2, but the thread B cannot release method 1 until it gets hold of method 2. Because these are mutually exclusive conditions, a deadlock occurs. Implementing the runnable interface. As we are aware that we can create threads in two ways, one by extending thread class and secondly by implementing the runnable interface. For implementing the runnable interface, we must perform the steps listed below. As a first step, we need to declare the class which implements the runnable interface. Secondly, implement the run method. Thirdly, create a thread by defining an object that is instantiated from this class as the target of the thread. Lastly, call the thread start method to run the thread. Now let us have a look at an example code for using runnable interface. The first step is declare the class which implements the runnable interface. In this case, it is class X which implements runnable. Second step is to implement the run method with appropriate code. Step number 3. Create a thread by defining an object that is instantiated from this class as the target of the thread. Step number 4. Call the thread start method to run the thread. The output of the program will be like this. Thank you for watching the video.